this is the first in the video sequence for Ukemi. Maruyama Sensei's directive for us for this year is to work on our Ukemi. I want to just talk about for a moment what Ukemi is. You know, we all go into the dojo and learn to roll, but the importance of understanding the relationship between uke and nage, and as uke, your responsibility to give a decent attack and to commit to that attack so that your nage has something tangible to work with. So regardless of how good technique is, you always have to deal with the mass of the person. It's just pure physics. So I've noticed over the last 13 years that a lot of people still do what I call an acrobatic circus kind of roll, which makes your body land so that you're smacking your lower part of your back and your pelvis into the floor really hard. And Sensei has said we should roll like a cat. For me, that means we need to compress our bodies down into the ground, fall our weight through our legs, and then roll away, rather than doing some big acrobatic jump that pretends to make the person look like they've got a lot of ki. The other side of the coin is that you need to make sure that your body is completely relaxed, so we're not holding tension within our body. I'm going to go through a couple of really simple exercises. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at making sure that when we're rolling from here to here. A lot of the time it kind of looks like we're rolling from here to here, but we end up going up this line and this part of the body is smacking really hard into the mat. So what we want to do is we want to create a shape here that we're not, like people quite often say roll along the line, but that's actually really difficult. The line we want to roll along is the line of this line across the body. So that the large muscle groups, the glutes, the quads, the lats in the back, they're the ones that should be actually hitting the mat. If you roll down this line, you're going to be bringing the smaller muscle groups in the lower back into play. This is really bad, especially if you want to do the rolls long term. So I'm just going to get Al to do a roll, just a normal forward roll. And back. Now notice that he didn't pick a particular line, but rather he's rolling across this line of his body. Now we use some simple exercises to help to create that shape. Just sitting on the floor, basically like this, and just trying to get used to the body going across that line. And notice that there's no slapping, so I'm not doing this, but rather that the hand is touching the mat, not attacking the mat. So there's a progression from there to having a go at doing it backwards, so that just getting a nice feeling for the mat, rather than having this slapping the mat. And so regardless of the amount of momentum you carry, that roll will always be valid. And even if you use the normal backward shot, it doesn't have to be aggressive towards the mat. Just recently, a lot of us went to a seminar where the person teaching encouraged me to fall backwards flat onto the small of my back, and I found it very uncomfortable. One of the more difficult roles to do is the one where you allow your feet to carry through. But I'm always trying to keep that forward contact. So it's not here and then turn away in this direction to try to preserve myself, but rather allowing the body to turn sideways so that I'm still at this person and to stay at this person, and the feet just allowed to carry through. It's a lot easier if you've got slippery mats. So there's a constant connection between myself and the other person. And notice how when I'm finishing, I'm coming to that position, back to that rolling over sideways position. So rather than making impact and giving up all of that momentum that was created within the technique, I'm still being active. An easy way to actually teach this to people is with a Joe, and the person comes to grab for Katate Tori here and moves through. So Al's moving through, and then I do this and just put his hand on the floor. Again. And then the person picks up momentum. And they're coming through again. And the hand just down. And this just gets the person used to the feeling of moving through. And you can do it to the point of this lady. So I'm coming to grab the Joe, and then Al makes the movement, but I keep walking until I can't go through any further. But the important point is the rotation of the body, so that I end up always in this position, which is the finish for the breakfall position. So the shape all comes back to exactly the same. And it doesn't matter then how much momentum the person is carrying. As they come towards you, notice that Al is not trying to go backwards, and that he's just carrying through his momentum, his feet come through. Now, we're trying to build a relationship with the mat. So there's not this smack bang, smack bang, smack bang that is happening. And Al stays at me the whole time. So when he's coming here, he's tracking this line. I move to here. I take his face and he falls. But he hasn't anticipated what I'm about to do, because I can do this and change. So he's coming for this hand and I change hands, but his orientation is still at me. At me. And he also tries to maintain the integrity of his balance until the very last minute. So the hand doesn't get thrown out and he gives up his balance instantly, which makes people look like they do O-sensei techniques. So you get this kind of thing happening when the person comes in and you go like that. And God, I'm good. And again, we start to build up. This person starts to build up a huge ego. And Maruyama Sensei always admonishes us to do this. So as the person comes in, that this hand should finish above them. So Al's still trying to come at me and I push into that space. He's actually any of our Zempo nagis, any of the koku nagis, and the person is getting thrown forward here, what I find quite often happens is I'll turn and I'll go to throw and the person's already done a roll. They anticipate what is about to take place. So you do this and you're after some connection and try to feel this movement in the tandem ball. You go to move, hang on a minute, I haven't learned to deal with the mass of the person. All I've done is turn around and wave my hand. So what I'm after is here, turn, and then as I step forward, I actually feel the mass of out here. And then I use my tandem ball to make the throw. If I continue to train like this, it has no meaning. And people talk about key goes this way, key goes that way, but we are doing physical exercise and I'm trying to train my physical body. It's not possible for this to do anything to my physical body except for boost my ego. So regardless of the technique, there needs to be attack. Yes, and the person needs to stay solid here. And I feel the mass of the person. And I learn that if I put physical strength into that part of the movement, that this person will resist me. So I learn to be relaxed because Ukemi does their job and comes at me and allows me to feel with dealing with the mass and dealing with somebody who is actually really attacking me. So, shape is important. Predetermined line, impossibility in real life either. If Al goes to attack me in the opening and he predetermines that I'm going to do something and he goes to roll that way and I suddenly turn this way, his body is going to be split. So he'll end up with a separated shoulder if I keep hold of him. So what we need is Ukemi to be relaxed and just to respond to the motion here of what's happening. And if the speed of the technique is up, the Ukemi is not panicking. It's just a simple roll. And so there's a progression that we get through to the shape of Alistair's body as it went over was exactly the same shape that he used in his forward roll. It was no different. And his landing is soft. He's not belting the mat in an aggressive fashion. And so, regardless of how the technique is, the person relaxes and feels the connection to Nago and feeds off that connection and goes over, and you have this quite relaxed feeling in your body when you just are able to let yourself go. But this means that you need to train the shape, so the basic movement needs to be absolutely complete. And as I wrote last week, the understanding that Nage's technique also needs to be at a level to be able to control the mass of somebody who weighs 100 kilos going around